A UFO Theory of Everything Part 1. I hope to provide a speculative, low-resolution view of anomalous phenomena, which shows how they can be related, and how they can be scientifically measured. To set the background, we can start with various statements from ufologists and insiders, which indicate the UFO phenomena may be stranger than we suppose. Quotes. We are dealing with a yet unrecognized level of consciousness, independent of man but closely linked to the Earth. I do not believe anymore that UFOs are simply the spacecraft of some race of extraterrestrial visitors. This notion is too simplistic to explain their appearance, the frequency of their manifestations through recorded history, and the structure of the information exchanged with them during contact. Jacques Vallée. They are not from outer space. There is no need for them to be. They have always been here. John Keel. I abandoned the extraterrestrial hypothesis in 1967 when my own field investigations disclosed an astonishing overlap between psychic phenomena and UFOs. The objects and apparitions do not necessarily originate on another planet and may not even exist as permanent constructions of matter. It is more likely that we see what we want to see and interpret such visions according to our contemporary beliefs. John Keel. What if there are multiple interconnected and stacked frequencies that each have their own lifeforms that can hop in and out of our frequency? Tom DeLonge. I will stress once again that we do not know the source from which the UFOs or the alien beings come, whether or not, for example, they originate in the physical universe as modern astrophysics has described it. But they manifest in the physical world and bring about definable consequences in that domain. Jacques Vallée. DeLonge asked one of his advisors who a spiritual intelligence could create physical manifestations, crafts and bodies. They replied, using nanofabrication atomic layer by atomic layer with durable nano-texturing and quantum entanglement properties. And of course powered by the polarized vacuum. The same methods that cryptoterrestrials use. Reported by DeLonge Emo, this was likely from Hal Puthoff or someone connected to him. If the ancient gods were real in some sense, they may have come from a space-time continuum so different from ours that their atomic structure was different. They could walk through walls because their atoms were able to pass through the atoms of stone. John Keel. The science exists for an enemy of the United States to manipulate both our physical and cognitive environments. Psychotronic weapons. Cognitive human interface. Penetration of solid surfaces. Instantaneous sensor disassembly. Alteration manipulation of biological organisms. Anomalies in the spacetime construct. Unique cognitive human interface experiences. AATIP Slide 9. The psychic component of UFOs is the one that disturbs ufologists, many of them, not all of them. And it also disturbs your typical academic STEM scientists because they consider psychic phenomenon to be fringe. And so it's a fringe topic and they won't consider any reality to it or consider evidence that's been investigated on it or that's been collected on it. So poltergeist phenomena is always attached to UFO encounters. The really good scientific UFO groups that have existed since the 70s and 80s even ignored it. They just threw it out of any of their field investigations and case studies because it did not fit the model of what they believed UFOs or what they hypothesized UFOs to be. And that is extraterrestrials from another planet. And unfortunately, that's not the truth. The truth is every time you have UFOs, you're going to have poltergeist associated with them. And I personally experienced it every time I came home from my field trips to the Utah Ranch Skinwalker. I brought that poltergeist phenomenon home. A couple of the DIA military, uniformed officers who went to the ranch to get a feel for it, to see it and investigate it, also brought poltergeist phenomena home with them. And so, it is a part of the psychic or level 5 characteristic or dimension of the UFO phenomenon. And it's hard to understand why. But that's part of why we're trying to study it, what we're trying to find out, why that is. Could be that in fact that telepathy may likely be a major component of the UFOnauts who control these advanced technological devices, these technological vehicles. And telepathy might entail altered states of consciousness, manipulations of reality, and things like that, that get really exotic. And this is why physicists and ufologists, they're scared. They run from it. Dr. Eric Davies reportedly gave evidence to Congress of crash retrieval programs. I think this whole phenomenon is well beyond our ken. I don't think our government, any government, really knows what this is. And I don't think they have any understanding of it at all. The people I've spoken to believe it occurs at the nexus of consciousness and quantum mechanics. Jim Semivan, to the Stars Academy, former CIA. A theory. Nature of the universe. What we call electromagnetic waves or light can in certain states interfere with frequencies of energy that are ordinarily invisible to our senses and instruments. We can think of it as crossing dimensional boundaries. We can think of it as interfering with fields that are ordinarily non-interacting, or weakly interacting with our reality, that are not themselves in our spacetime, or only partly in our spacetime when they enter certain phase states. We can only see part of the picture. We can call this other aspect of reality another frequency domain. But call it a dimension if you prefer. I don't believe it's a spatial dimension though. I believe reality is wave-based or informational, and matter is an experience caused by interference between waves. At least from our perspective. The NHIs are native to other bordering frequency domains. This doesn't necessarily mean they are not physical in their own domain. Only that they are not fully physical in our domain, except when they chose to be. This is a two-way process. This electromagnetic energy may include very powerful artificial events, such as EMP pulses from nuclear weapons, and possibly other lower energy frequencies of energy in certain wave states, such as the 1.6 GHz signal used at Skinwalker Ranch. I don't think it's the level of energy itself, e.g. gamma rays cross into a part of the M spectrum beyond our cutoff, but rather the particular waveform is interfering because it is resonating or coupling with a whole other spectrum. Harmonics is another way of looking at it. Relationship with consciousness. The key thing is that this electromagnetic energy also includes the subtler lower energy M fields in the human brain, which I consider the primary correlate of consciousness, if not the thing itself. At least from the perspective of our observations in spacetime. Interactions with these other frequency domains seem to occur primarily when the electromagnetic waves of consciousness are altered. Primarily in the slow theta brainwave state, which studies show is associated with REM sleep, sleep paralysis, ADHD, schizophrenia, induced psychedelic experience, spontaneous spiritual experience, intuition, creativity, and meditation practice. In these states, people commonly experience interaction with perceived NHI, or access to ideas from outside their normal consciousness. In these states, people use the language of frequency, resonance, or vibration, usually very slow harmonic vibrations in the body brain. Because it really is related to frequency, we just don't have terms to understand what we are resonating with. Post from user Savon Crow at Reddit.